As we move through life, reaching our 60s, 70s, and 80s is something truly special. It's not just another decade. It's a new beginning, a precious chance to find deeper peace, real happiness, and a life that feels lighter and freer. If you're in this beautiful stage of life, today's video is just for you. We're going to talk about 7 powerful things you might want to let go of, so you can create more space for joy, love, and fulfillment. These are not heavy life lectures. Think of them as gentle reminders, coming from a place of kindness and wisdom. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's walk this journey together. And before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel Candle of Wisdom for more uplifting videos just like this. Now let's begin. First, let's talk about letting go of perfectionism. You know, so many of us spent years, decades even, trying to make everything just right. The perfect home, the perfect appearance, the perfect family holidays. But perfectionism can weigh heavily on the heart, especially as we get older. It can steal the joy right out of beautiful moments. I remember an incredible woman, Mrs. Eleanor Davis, whom I met a few years ago. Eleanor was 68 when I got to know her, and she had this remarkable knack for making every family gathering look like it belonged on the cover of a magazine. Her table settings were immaculate, her home sparkled, and she made sure every little thing was flawless. But beneath all that effort, she was often exhausted and a little stressed. One Christmas, after a long day of preparing an elaborate feast, Eleanor finally sat down with her family. And you know what? Instead of everyone admiring the polished silverware or the perfectly placed napkins, what filled the room was laughter, warm stories, and noisy, happy chaos. It hit her then. The people she loved weren't there for a perfect evening. They were there for her hugs, her laugh, and the memories they were building together. From that day forward, Eleanor began to ease up. She let her tablecloth have a few wrinkles. She burned a pie once and laughed right along with everyone else. And you know what? Those became some of her favorite memories. Letting go of perfectionism doesn't mean giving up on making things nice. It just means recognizing that life isn't meant to be a picture-perfect gallery. It's meant to be lived, mess and all. When you release that need to make everything flawless, you open your heart to so much more: spontaneous joy, deeper connection, and real happiness. So I invite you to ask yourself gently, where in your life could you trade perfect for joyful? Where could you give yourself permission to just be messy, human, and wonderfully you? Now, let's move into the second thing it's time to let go of: the need for approval. This one can be sneaky, can it? Even after decades of living, raising families, working, giving, loving, many of us still find ourselves looking sideways wondering, did I do it right, or do they approve of me? But here's the truth: your life is yours. You don't need anyone else's stamp of approval to validate your happiness. I think about Mr. Samuel Brooks, an 82-year-old retired teacher I met during a community storytelling night. Samuel had spent most of his life making choices based on what others thought was best. When he was younger, he wanted to be a writer, but he became a teacher because it was the respectable thing. He loved his family deeply, but he often said yes to family expectations, even when it weighed on him. One evening, his grandson, a teenager wise beyond his years, said, "Grandpa, we love you for you. Not for what you do for us, just for being you." That simple comment cracked something open in Samuel's heart. For the first time in years, he gave himself permission to live for himself. He joined a local poetry group, started writing every day, and even self-published a little collection of poems. His joy was contagious. Letting go of the need for approval doesn't mean ignoring your loved ones. It means you prioritize your own inner compass. You make decisions based on what feels right in your soul, not out of fear of judgment. Imagine waking up each day and asking, what would I do today if no one else's opinion mattered? Imagine the freedom, the relief, the excitement. Because here's the thing, when you live authentically, the people who truly love you won't just stick around. They'll celebrate you. and you'll inspire them to live more authentically too. Now, the third thing to gently set down is the habit of stressing over small things. Oh, how easy it is to let life's little annoyances nibble away at our peace. A noisy neighbor, a traffic jam, a misplaced remote control. It doesn't take much to spark frustration if we're not careful. But when you reach your 60s, 70s, and beyond, you realize something important. Your peace is too precious to waste on things that simply don't matter. Let me share a story about Mr. Harold Green. Harold was 74 when I met him, a retired accountant who lived in a cozy little town. Harold had a sharp mind and a kind heart, but he had a habit of letting the tiniest things unsettle him. A delayed mail delivery would ruin his morning. A slight scratch on his car would send him into a spiral of complaints. Over time, it weighed him down, made his days grayer than they needed to be. Then one spring morning, something shifted. Harold was sitting in his backyard, grumbling to himself about a neighbor's dog barking too much. But then he noticed something. The vibrant pink flowers blooming along his fence, the laughter of children playing down the street, the warmth of the sun on his face. And it clicked, the noise would pass. But these small, beautiful moments were priceless. From that day on, Harold made a quiet promise to himself to let the little stuff go and hold tight to what was good. Life will always offer little irritations if we look for them, but it also offers moments of breathtaking beauty, even in the simplest things. Ask yourself when you feel the irritation bubbling up, will this matter next week, next year? Most of the time, the answer is a gentle no. And that's your cue to take a deep breath, smile at life's imperfections, and move forward with lightness in your heart. When we stop sweating the small stuff, we reclaim our energy, we protect our joy, and we leave more space for gratitude, laughter, and the precious moments that truly make life rich. Now let's talk about the fourth thing it's time to let go of: overcommitting yourself. It's a beautiful thing to be generous with your time and energy, but too often we say yes out of habit, guilt, or fear of disappointing others. And before we know it, we're stretched too thin, exhausted, and missing out on the things that really nourish our souls. I remember meeting Mrs. Margaret Collins at a wellness workshop. Margaret, at 70, was the person everyone in her family and community turned to, organizing events, babysitting grandchildren, volunteering for every project that came her way. You name it, she was involved. At first, it felt good. She liked being needed. But over time, Margaret realized she had almost no time left for herself. She missed reading books. She missed her long walks in the park. She missed her painting classes. Her health started to suffer. She felt perpetually tired, irritable, and worn down. One afternoon, after yet another frantic week filled with obligations, Margaret sat down with her calendar and cried. She saw her life spelled out in commitments to everyone but herself. That day, she made a brave decision. She would start saying no, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. It wasn't easy at first. Margaret worried about letting people down, but to her surprise, most people understood and even admired her honesty. And as she reclaimed her time, something magical happened. She came back to life. She started painting again, filling her home with beautiful, colorful canvases. She read novels that took her on grand adventures. She even joined a hiking group and made new friends. Margaret wasn't just living, she was thriving. You see, overcommitting drains your soul. It scatters your energy and steals the time you could be using to nurture your spirit, your passions, and your closest relationships. Learning to say no gently but firmly is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself in this season of life. So take a look at your days. Where are you saying yes when your heart is whispering no? Where could you create space for what truly fills you up? Because when you protect your time, you protect your joy. And that's a gift not just to yourself, but to everyone who loves you. Now, the fifth thing to lovingly release from your life is unhealthy habits. Our bodies are incredible. They've carried us through decades of joys, challenges, and experiences. But they also speak to us, don't they? Especially in our later years. They remind us, often gently, sometimes loudly, that they need our care and attention more than ever. I once knew Mr. Raymond Foster, a 66-year-old retired firefighter. For most of his life, Raymond had enjoyed a few cigars in the evening, a little too much salt in his meals, and the occasional late-night TV marathon that left him feeling sluggish the next day. He knew these habits weren't the best for him, but he brushed it off for years with a hearty laugh and a shrug, saying, I'm fine, I'm tough." One afternoon, sitting on a park bench with his 5-year-old granddaughter, she looked up at him with big, worried eyes and asked, "Grandpa, will you still be here when I grow up?" Raymond's heart caught in his chest. He realized that living longer and healthier wasn't just about him. It was about being there for the people he loved, about creating memories, attending graduations, sharing hugs and smiles that would stretch far into the future. Raymond didn't overhaul his life overnight. He started small, cutting down his cigar use, adding more fresh fruits and vegetables to his meals, swapping one late-night TV session for a peaceful evening walk. Each small step added up. Over time, he found he had more energy, less pain, and more vibrant joy to share with his family. And every time his granddaughter laughed or grabbed his hand to run across the playground, he felt a deep, proud peace knowing he was giving her, and himself, the greatest gift, more time together. Letting go of unhealthy habits isn't about strict rules or feeling guilty about the past. It's about loving yourself enough to make small changes that honor the beautiful life you've built and the beautiful moments still to come. So if there's a habit that's been weighing you down, maybe today is the perfect day to take that first gentle step. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to feel your very best. Moving on to the sixth thing that deserves to be set free: toxic relationships. At this stage of life, every relationship you keep should nourish you, uplift you, and bring light into your world. Anything less is simply too costly. I want to tell you about Ms. Carolyn Reed, a lovely woman I met at a community art show. Carolyn was 72 and known for her vibrant paintings full of color and life. But behind her warm smile, she carried a heavy heart. For years, she had maintained a friendship with someone she had known since childhood, a friend who, over time, had become bitter, critical, and draining. Every lunch turned into a complaint session. Every phone call left Carolyn feeling small and weary. She stayed in the friendship out of loyalty, out of shared history, and, truthfully, out of guilt. But deep down, she knew it wasn't good for her spirit. One day, after a particularly exhausting afternoon together, Carolyn sat down and wrote in her journal, "I deserve relationships that make me feel alive, not diminished." It wasn't easy, but she made the decision to distance herself. She didn't do it with anger or blame. She simply let the relationship fade, creating space in her life for something better. And oh, how that space blossomed. Carolyn found new friends through her painting classes, people who celebrated her, laughed with her, and lifted her up. Her art grew brighter, and so did she. Letting go of toxic relationships isn't about being cruel or cutting people off harshly. It's about honoring your peace, protecting your emotional health, and choosing love, starting with yourself. So take a gentle inventory of your relationships. Which ones feel like sunlight? Which ones feel like storms? It's okay, more than okay, to walk away from what dims your light. Because the more you surround yourself with kindness, encouragement, and joy, the more beautiful your life becomes. And now, the seventh and final thing to let go of: regret. Regret can be such a heavy companion, can it? It lingers quietly in the background, whispering, "What have you had?" or "You should have." And if we're not careful, it steals today's happiness with yesterday's sorrow. But here's the beautiful truth: the past is already behind you. You are standing here today with a heart still beating, dreams still possible, and stories still waiting to be written. I think of Mr. Bernard Lewis, whom I met at a community storytelling event. Bernard was 77, a retired engineer with a sharp wit and a warm smile. He confided in me that he had spent years regretting that he never pursued his love of music. As a young man, he had dreamed of becoming a jazz pianist. But life swept him into a different path: marriage, children, work, and responsibility. He told me, for years, every time I saw someone playing the piano, I'd feel a little ache in my chest. But something wonderful happened. One day, passing by a local community center, he noticed a sign: "Beginner's Piano Class, all ages welcome." He hesitated. Then he smiled to himself and thought, why not me? Why not now? Bernard signed up. At first, it was slow going. His fingers stiff, his memory rusty. But little by little, note by note, he found his way back to the music he had loved so long ago. By the end of the year, he was playing simple tunes for his grandchildren, his face glowing with pride. Bernard's story reminds us that it's never too late to honor the dreams tucked inside your heart. Regret doesn't have to be the closing chapter. It can be the turning point, the moment you decide that today matters more than yesterday ever did. So if there's something you've longed to do, some passion you've buried under years of maybe later, I encourage you, start now. Start small. Start imperfectly. But start. Your future self will thank you for it. As we travel through our 60s, 70s, and 80s, letting go isn't about loss. It's about making room. Room for peace, for laughter, for adventures you haven't even dreamed of yet. Letting go of perfectionism invites authenticity. Letting go of seeking approval grants freedom. Letting go of small stresses protects your joy. Letting go of overcommitment safeguards your energy. Letting go of unhealthy habits strengthens your future. Letting go of toxic relationships nurtures your soul. And letting go of regret frees your spirit to soar. Each day you wake up is another chance to love more, laugh more, dream more, and simply be. There is no right or wrong way to move through this beautiful season of life. There is only your way, the one paved with the choices you make, the kindness you offer yourself, and the joy you allow in. So today and every day, give yourself permission to live lighter, to carry less, to dance more, because this is your time. You've earned every smile, every quiet morning, every wild, silly moment of happiness. Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey of reflection and renewal. If this video spoke to your heart, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Candle of Wisdom for more videos that celebrate growth, peace, and living your fullest life. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which one of these 7 things are you ready to let go of first? Share your thoughts. You might just inspire someone else along the way. Until next time, take care of your beautiful heart, and remember, the best is yet to come.